Hi guys, welcome to a new video. Before we get on with this video, I just want to say I hit 1000 subscribers. Drum rolls, drum rolls. I know it's like a really small milestone, but like I'm super grateful for everyone that's taking the time out to subscribe. Thank you. Now for this tutorial, I'll be making this bubu crop top. It is really easy to make. If this is your vibe, keep watching. If you're just seeing this face for the first time, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, share, comment, and like this video. These are the materials we are going to be needing. I think this is about 1 yard and some inches because this is leftover fabric. I have my tape, my scissors. You also need the 1/2 inch elastic. And the first thing you're going to do is to go ahead and fold your fabric into four. You know how you fold the fabric into four? You first fold it into two and then you fold it into four. I'm just opening to show you that this was folded in four. So this is what it looks like. So I'm just trying to open it up here and align it properly because this fabric moves a lot. After which I'll be giving it a good press so it will lay flat just to hold it down. So the first thing I'll be doing is to take my measurement from the center of my back to where I want my sleeve to stop. Alternatively, you can do to your shoulder and then add your sleeve, but this will be a cut together sleeve. So I used 25 inches because I wanted this to be a little long. So 25 inches is my length. This is just me showing you how you can do from your shoulder and then add your hand measurement. It is still the same thing, but it is easier to go from the center of your back to where you want your sleeve to stop. So the next thing I'll be doing is to get my neck depth and width. Remember, I'm cutting the front and the back together. So I used 4 inches for the width. I used 1.5 for the depth. So this is the back neckline. I'm going to mark it first and then I'll go ahead and mark the front neckline. For my front neckline, I used 9.5 inch. As you can see, mine came down a little bit. If you don't want yours to be like that, please use 9 inches or 8 inches. I'm going ahead to mark 9 inches. Now I'll just be using my ruler to connect the 9 inches. Just like so. This is me trying to draw my front neckline. After doing that, the next thing I'm going to do is to actually go ahead and measure another 25 inches because I want the line to be straight and even. And then I'm going to use my ruler to connect a line to the bottom of this top, just like so. Now from the 25 inches, which is going to serve as my armhole line, I'm going to be going down by 1 inch, after which I'll connect that 1 inch to my neckline. This is going to serve as my shoulder slope. Remember, I'm cutting the front and the back together. That's my front neckline and the upper one is my back neckline. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to measure the full length of this top, and I'm working with everything I have because this is quite short and I have 17 inches. I would have preferred to use 18 or 19 inches, but this is all I could get with this fabric. So I'm marking 17 inches and I'm going to use a ruler to connect the lines just to even them out. Now on this armhole line, remember this is like a bubu crop top. I'm going to come down by whatever I want my armhole to be, and I use 9.5 inch. So I used my chalk to mark a point at 9.5, as you can see. Now on the bottom part of this top, I went in by 3 inches. I did it just to give this a little bit of definition, and I'm using my free hand to just connect the point from where I want my armhole to stop to connect to the 3 inches at the bottom of this top. I hope this is understandable. I went in by 3 inches at the bottom of this top and then I just slanted it to where I want my armhole to stop for this bubu top. So that is all for this top. The next thing I'm going to do is to cut this out. Remember, you are cutting the front and the back together. Please, this is very important because the neckline for the back is smaller. You cut the back first, you remove the back, and then you cut out the front neckline. Every other thing remains the same. At this point, please go ahead and cut out following the lines that you've made gently and carefully. After I was done, this is what it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and remove one piece, which is going to serve as the back piece. After doing that, I'll fold carefully, and then I'll go ahead and take out the front neckline. So this is going to serve as the front piece for this bubu crop top. I'll open this up, and this is what it looks like opened up. The next thing to do is to place the back piece on top of it, right side facing right side, and then you're going to join from this point like this. That's serving as your shoulder and your arm together. So you're just going to go ahead and join by 1/2 inch. This fabric is stressful, so I'm just going to be pinning this down to make this easy for me. Just pin it strategically, then you go to your machine and take it in by 1/2 inch. So after pinning it up, you go ahead and do the same to both sides, then you go to your machine and take it in by 1/2 inch. So after stitching this down, this is what it looks like. The next thing to do is to get your bias strip and turn out the neckline. So you're going to sew it on the right side, and then you're going to fold it into the wrong side. So after putting my strip and ironing, this is what it looks like. This is how neat it is looking. As you can see, it is coming together. We're almost done with this top. Now remember, we marked out 9.5 inch for the sleeve of this top. I'm just going to go ahead and hem it on both sides. I'll do the same for the other side. After stitching, I'll go ahead and iron thoroughly. Now this is what it looks like. As you can see, our top has come together nicely. What is left to do is to go ahead and join the both sides. Go ahead and stitch the sides from where your armhole stops. You go ahead and pin this down, because like I said, this fabric is a little slimy, so I'll just be putting a pin to make sure it stays in place. Whatever you do on one side of this top, you're going to repeat it on the other side of the top. So you're just going to go in by 1 inch or 1/2 inch, depending on what you want for the top, because this doesn't have any measurement or allowance. I ended up using 1/2 inch for mine, so this is what it looks like by the time I was done. That's the armhole. That's where my hand is going to go into. I've succeeded in closing the both sides, and this is what they look like. The next thing to do, which is the final step for this top, is to go ahead and hem the bottom part while making a casing for our elastic. So you're just going to fold this in and make sure what you have folded is big enough to handle to take your elastic. The elastic is a tiny elastic, which is about 1/2 inch, so just make sure it fits into whatever you get at the end. Now while you are stitching this down, make sure you leave a little bit of opening, because that's what you are going to be using to pass in your elastic. So leave about 1 inch open or 1/2 inch open, and then you're just going to stitch around this top. So after I was done stitching it down, this is exactly what it looks like. Now this is the point where I left open a little bit, so that is the point where I'm going to be using to pass in my elastic. Now to get the amount of elastic that I'll be using, I'm going to be taking out 5 inches from my actual waist measurement. My waist is 28, so after taking out 5 inches, I'm going to have 23 inches, and that is what I'm measuring for this elastic. After cutting the elastic out, I've measured again to be sure I have 23 inches, and yes, I have 23 inches. Now after getting the actual amount of elastic I'll be using, I'm going to be using my safety pin, a small size. That is the easiest and fastest way to pass in your elastic. So I'm just going to be placing it on the elastic, and then I'm going to go into the part that is open. I'm going to go ahead and push it gently, just pushing and drag gently, pushing and drag. So you're just going to keep dragging till you get to the other side of this top. At the bottom of the elastic, you can go ahead and put another safety pin, just so this safety pin will not, the elastic will not finish inside the underneath of this top. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So you need 2 safety pins. You put one at the beginning, and then you just put one at the end of the elastic, just to avoid it going into the top completely. So I'll keep pushing and dragging gently until I get to the other side of this elastic. So I finally gotten to the other side of the elastic. So what I'm going to do is to go ahead and remove my safety pin on both sides. After doing that, I'm going to join both elastic together. Then I'll go to my sewing machine and I'm going to stitch it down just to hold it down properly. So after I was done stitching it, I'm going to put it inside. This is what it will be looking like. Then I'll go ahead and close up that part that was opened. And so after I was done, this is what the top looks like. This is what it looks like at the back. And that's all. This is a really simple tutorial.